Hi, and welcome to my channel. Making new friends in our 50s and beyond does not have to be hard, but it does need to be a priority. Everything I've ever read about life satisfaction points to the importance of social connection to a happy and balanced life at any age. Maybe you just retired and finally you have time for more friends and you wonder where to start. Maybe you suddenly find yourself single through divorce or becoming widowed and you realize that your social life is changing. Or maybe your friends have moved away and you've moved yourself, or your interests have changed and you feel the need to expand your friendship circle. If you want to work on improving this area of your life, perhaps my stories and suggestions will spark an idea or two that'll help you on your journey. Thinking back on my life, real life can sometimes make it difficult to nurture and expand your female friendships. Launching a career, additional schooling, marriage, house, kids, more career, all wonderful and exciting, but all consuming for me in my 20s and through my 40s. All of these demands left me very little time for myself, let alone for friends. And I chose to work when my kids were young, which leads me to my suggestion number 1. Get involved in satisfying activities where you'll meet people. In my case, when my kids were near the end of elementary school, I left my last corporate job and I took 6 months off to rethink my priorities. I decided to become a consultant because this gave me more time flexibility and allowed me to lean into my kids' schooling, which they needed, plus the opportunity to volunteer at their school and in the community, and I was building my business too. I got involved in the foundation for our elementary school district, and that led me to meeting many new people and other opportunities over time to serve in the community, where I met yet more people. The key thing with involvement in the community is that you get to spend sustained time over several years, and that's what cements a long-term friendship. Start small and let it grow. My close friends in my local community today were formed during those years when I finally had time to engage in volunteer activities. And I'll bookmark to do another video soon on how to find like-minded people and to get involved in your community for folks who need more of a nudge in that area. Now for suggestion number 2. Build in regular, pre-planned social connection. What I mean by that is something that happens, say, at the same time each week, so you don't have to constantly initiate each activity. It's so exhausting always having to plan every time you want to see someone. Often your schedules don't mesh and you play endless phone tag or text tag, whatever. March of 2020 hit me really hard. Suddenly my active social and business life came to a crashing halt, and I love my husband, but I needed other social outlets, especially with my female friends. So I did 2 crucial things that have changed and enriched my life immensely. First, I reached out to my local friends and started a virtual happy hour every Friday at 5 o'clock. It started on Zoom, and after a few times, we began to gather outside at my friend's house on her patio. She has a full roof and heaters, so we could be outside and socially distanced in almost any weather. So during the pandemic shutdown, we were all there every single week. It was our respite from a strange and isolating experience, and we often celebrated. We literally exclaimed our good fortune and how much we value the time just talking about the challenges of life, kids, current events, sharing favorite cocktail recipes, tips on movies, TV, you name it. After 4 years, we're still meeting almost every week. Though these days getting everyone there is rare, and we're all back to active schedules and travel, but we're still doing it. And we've taken 3 girls trips too. There's just a deep need for regular connection that does not require a whole lot of planning. The second thing I did at the beginning of the pandemic was I reached out to my college friends who live all around the country. For some 10 years before this, several of us gathered in a different city each year for a long girls' weekend. With everyone learning how to Zoom during the pandemic, we finally had a platform to see and talk with each other regularly without traveling, and this made it possible to expand the group. We started with every Sunday, and as the pandemic eased and people got busier, we backed off to once a month. We're still doing it. The conversations are amazing. We're all around 63, like me, and life has happened to us. 2 have lost their husbands to illness, 2 have divorced and remarried. All of them, except me, have lost one or both parents. Our kids have struggled and triumphed in school and in life. Many of these women had careers and are already retired, and all have faced challenges with something: work, kids, family, and more. And we talk about it, all of it. It's brought us so much closer, and it's a place of refuge and safety with people we have known for 45 years. I see women in my neighborhood walking together, and I have friends who have regular walking or hiking dates with girlfriends, which they value immensely. Though I actually prefer to exercise alone, I love the idea of getting your daily exercise in while having some much-needed girl time. Now to suggestion number 3, reach out to old friends. You know those friends that you haven't seen in forever, but when you do talk, it feels like no time has passed? I just love those moments. Well, it doesn't matter how long ago you saw the person. If that friendship meant something to you, chances are that it probably meant something to them. Let me share a cool story from my own experience. One day when I was in first grade, the teacher announced that a new girl would join our class the next day. Her name was Kathy, like me, and she had red hair like me, so we were destined to become friends. I have vivid memories of writing books and poetry together, family gatherings, and taking a quick peek at her exquisite baby brother when he was only days old. We had 2 glorious years, spending every moment we could together. And then one day, I was told that Kathy's family would be moving across the country. Moving day arrived, and I cried my eyes out as the moving van and the family car drove off. I was only 10 years old, and the hurt of that loss ran deep. It took me a year to recover my balance. Then after that, life just took over, and 35 years passed. She was my first ever best friend, and I never forgot her. So during the pandemic, with more time on my hands and chained to my computer, I wondered what had happened to Kathy. So I searched for her online, and it took me only a few seconds to find her. She's a college professor with an online presence. So I took a chance and reached out, and she responded right away. We live at opposite ends of the country, so we started Zooming, and we even got together in person when she had a reason to be in California. It's been pure joy for me to rekindle this long ago friendship, and we will never again lose touch. Sometimes it's difficult to know where to start with reconnecting with old friends and building new friendships, which will lead us to suggestion number 4. But first, a story. Recently, I heard from a friend who I'd not seen for 5 years or so, and she wanted to have lunch and catch up. She's in her early 50s, works full-time remotely, and is married with a son still at home. So she's not quite out of the daily parenting routine, but she sees it coming, and I sensed from our conversation that she feels a little isolated and in need of more female connection. When I mentioned this to her, she resonated with it, and we talked about ideas for turning her attention to more female friendships. And this brings us to number 4. Make a list of all the women you know. Then you can riff off of that to create ideas for social connection and plans that make sense. For people who are nearby, you can arrange to walk, meet for coffee, or both. And you can organize a girls' night like I did with my Friday happy hour group. You can start small and ask your friends to invite new people to expand the circle. For people who are far away, you can have Zoom calls with individuals or small groups. You can even plan some travel if it fits into your budget. For example, I recently traveled to Houston for the solar eclipse, and I arranged to see an old friend from grad school. We had a wonderful time, and that friendship is much stronger than before. Of course, you can always do the book club thing, and that's another great way to reach out and find new friends and connect with old friends. Why do these stories matter? Well, female friendships run deep. My friends and I provide a mutual support system for each other as we experience life with kid challenges, aging parents, job stresses, the transition to retirement, travel planning, aging bodies, you name it. Plus, studies have shown that maintaining strong social connections, including friendships, is linked to better emotional health and well-being, particularly as people age. One of my friends recently pointed out the opportunity for cross-generational friendships, even mutual mentoring that can be beneficial for both parties. I, a few years ago, mentored a young lady in our local high school, and she and I are still in touch, and that's a really enriching friendship for me. For me, my regular happy hour group and college friend Zoom calls and other friendships with women provide an emotional grounding and sense of belonging beyond my own small and close family. I'm eternally grateful to my friends for the fellowship we have together. So let's recap my suggestions for expanding and nurturing your female friendships. Number 1, get involved in satisfying activities where you'll meet people of like mind. Number 2, build in regular pre-planned social connection. Number 3, reach out to old friends. Number 4, make a list of all the women you know and make plans. There's no magic bullet for almost anything in life, but I do know one thing. Taking small actions on things that are important build over time. And I hope one of my ideas will give you the inspiration to take a step today toward having female friendships that'll support you, build you up, and sustain you throughout your life. I hope you'll share your tips and experiences with female friendship in the comments below, and also let this channel be one place to feel like you belong. Please share this video with anyone you think might benefit from it, and of course subscribe to my channel, like this video of course, and here's to friendship. I'll see you again soon.